Robert E. Lee was born January 19, 1807, at Stratford in Westmoreland County. He continued in the military tradition of his father, and Lee entered West Point in 1825. He graduated second in his class by 1829. He served in various military duties in Georgia, Virginia, New York, Texas, and Mexico over the next 23 years. Lee's reputation increased, and his recognition and respectability equally has grown. In 1852, he was named superintendent of West Point. From February of 1860 until February of 1861, Lee commanded the Department of Texas, the largest number of troops he had ever commanded. It was during this time that the secession movement began, and Lee had to evaluate his position as a Whig devoted to the Union and that of being a Virginian. At this point, he did not agree with the political and economic arguments for Southern independence, though, unfortunate as the choice was, if pressed to choose between fighting for Virginia or for the Union, Lee realized that the decision would not be simple. But his loyalties proved to be on the side of the South, and because of his family tradition and association with the states of Virginia, he actually chose to be on the side of Virginia. After the surrender of Fort Sumter at the start of the Civil War, on April 18, 1861, Lee was actually offered a field command in the United States Army. On the following day, he received word that Virginia had seceded from the Union, and he submitted his letter of resignation from the United States Army on April 20th. 3 days later, Lee accepted the position of the commander of the Virginia forces. From this point onward, Lee's identity became instinctively linked to the Confederate cause. At age 55, on May 31, 1862, Robert E. Lee was assigned to command the troops which he named the Army of Northern Virginia. He is best known for his victories in battle in the Second Battle of Manassas, or the Second of Bull Run, and the Battle of Chancellorsville. He was named General-in-Chief of all Confederate armies on February 6, 1865, but his tenure in this position was cut short by his ultimate surrender to General Grant at Appomattox Courthouse on April 9, 1865, thus ending the Civil War. After the war, Lee returned to Richmond. During the last 5 years of his life, he served as president of Washington College in Lexington, Virginia, and he was indicted for treason, although he was never actually brought to trial. Lee was stricken on September 28, 1870 in Lexington, and died a few weeks later on October 12th. Robert E. Lee was buried in Lexington and remembered as an educator, a soldier, a Christian gentleman who loved his life with dignity. Lee had been compared to General George Washington in terms of the respect that he earned from his soldiers, from his region, and from his nation.